All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Colin. Brendan, Paget, Hwee, Ming, Nick, we are from the Asia Pacific Office of Technology, as mentioned, based out of Singapore. We are very, very glad to be here today. I'm particularly glad to be in temperatures of about 13 degrees, which is really nice compared to what I'm used to 24 hours a day. So these guys don't think so, but I think it's great. So thank you for coming along today. We really appreciate you spending your time today with us. We know your time is valuable. We're going to be spending some time talking about how we can actually save you some time as well. Also like to thank the sponsors that are with us today. Please make sure you interact with them in the room at the back. There's some great solutions that we can work on together. In fact, we're going to be showing a couple of those solutions here today. They didn't know we were going to do it, so that should be a good surprise. So these guys are here to do the real work. I'm just kind of here to distract you like a bit like a magician. But, you know, when we get up on stage and do one live demo of a real product, that's fine. But these guys are going to do 8 demos of real live product, real code, no smoke and mirrors. So we pray to the people that make sure this stuff works. And if anything does go wrong, and I mean, what could possibly go wrong, we will absolutely blame the network for that. And it was completely out of our hands, right? But everything is real. So we've given this session for the last 3 years, and we've got really good feedback. And that helps motivate the team to keep working on these things, and, new challenges. Last year, as Colin said, we brought you a fictional company. We made up a company called BioPharm. And they were an organization that has typical IT operation development challenges and how we could kind of help fix a lot of those challenges. So we're back here as Big Farm a year later, and we're going to tell you what we did and what the focus of the next 12 months really is all about. We talked about how Big Farm acquired a smaller, nimble startup called BioNode. Interestingly, little did we know that a few months after we did that demo, IBM would announce its intention to acquire Red Hat. So go figure, right? So Big Farm last year did a lot. And if you were at the event in Sydney last year, and if you did what we did as Big Farm, you would have achieved new levels of control and efficiency, reduced the cost of your infrastructure, and really got a frictionless IT experience. So hopefully if you were there and you followed what we did, you will have had all that as well. So now the question is, who did we build all that infrastructure for? Who did we build all this greatness for? Who's going to make use of all this infrastructure? How are we going to take the cost savings we made and then innovate and re-innovate in our organization? Where are we going to spend that money from the cost savings from last year? And who is going to build the next generation of applications? Camera. Got it? Okay, good. Thanks very much. Okay, good. That's so the boss knows we're working, although hopefully, Frank, you're watching on the live stream at the back of the room. Thank you very much. So, here's the interesting thing. Developers are the new kingmakers. Developers are the kingmakers. They are the artists of the digital canvas creating the next generation of applications. They are also in short supply. Developers are in short supply. We're going to talk about why they're in short supply and how we think we can help rectify that problem. Software innovation is absolutely critical to a company's revenue stream, and if that innovation can't be done because developers aren't there or the tools aren't there, then we have a problem. So we need to be able to fix that. A couple of other acquisitions that happened in the last 12 months. Microsoft acquired GitHub for a reasonably large amount of money. Now, what did they get? What did they get for that money? They got people. They got a development community where developers get together to collaborate, to work together, to put their code. They got people. Now, of course, they've got LinkedIn over here for all the job searching. They've got a big development pool here. You put it together, you can see where that might go in the future. And, of course, the other one was Red Hat. IBM acquired Red Hat. Red Hat is still Red Hat. What did IBM get for a very large amount of money? It was people. We don't have intellectual property because we open source everything that we do. So IBM got people. Obviously, some of the best people you'll ever come across is what they got. But it was the people, it was the culture, it was our open source development philosophy. That's what IBM got for that amount of money. So when you look at these 2 monstrous acquisitions, it's all about people, which is exactly what it should be. So we're talking about people. We're talking about the developers, the technologists, the specialists, the artists of this new realm that we need to paint on. And whether you're at a software vendor or you're a software consumer, the interesting thing is the developers are setting the direction. Developers set the direction for many of the technologies that you will use. And while only about 20% of the audience are developers, and we're going to be talking about that, it's really about how we create the infrastructure for those developers to do their best work. So they are setting the direction. We need to understand that. We need to buy into that and give them the best place to do that. So as a result of that, what does the toolbox of a kingmaker look like? How do they prefer to operate? Where do they do their best work? What are the tools that they need to do their best work? So we're going to explore this thing further, but we're not going to do it as Red Hat. We're going to do it as Big Farm. Good morning, everybody. My name is Pils Malone, and I am the CITO of Big Farm, CIO and CTO. CIO stands for Career is Over. If I don't get this right, my career is over. Security breach, career is over. Problem, career is over. So that's why I've got the other title as well to fall back on as well. So we're really glad to be back. We're very glad that Red Hat has invited us back yet again for another year. It's great. We haven't given them any sponsorship money for this, which is also good. We stabilized our infrastructure last year. We introduced Ansible automation, and everything is running on OpenShift, and it is in the cloud. We are totally cloud native now in a hybrid cloud environment. We've got lots of applications running in the cloud. In fact, we have now over 400 OpenShift clusters running. Mission-critical applications running our business in containers, microservices, and serverless. And that brings us to our first problem. With all of our mission-critical applications running in this OpenShift container platform, how do we keep the infrastructure up to date? Infrastructure agnostic means we don't care what platform or what cloud it runs on, but we need to have that infrastructure kept up to date. So, Nick, what are we able to do? How have we been able to keep our infrastructure up to date, solid, security vulnerabilities, while at the same time ensuring that our 400 OpenShift clusters continue to run the business?
Pils, we address this challenge by using over-the-air update feature, which is built into OpenShift GUI. How simple is that? Right, a few weeks ago, Red Hat released OpenShift version 4.x, and we have already upgraded all of 400 OpenShift clusters easily. Right, how we do this automatically without any problems, you may ask? Right, it's similarly how someone would automatically update all their iOS on the iPhone. As simple as that, right? Just tap on it, click, and it goes, right? As proof of my work, proof of execution, right? I did all the work in the morning, but I want to capture a video to show you how I did it, right? So let's show everyone how I did it, all the nice work I did, right? Ming, help me switch to my demo, right? Over here, I have recorded the entire process of how I did upgrading. Right, in OpenShift, we used to have different tools monitoring all the log files of the cluster during upgrade. Right, now we can actually see everything from one single dashboard. Right, everything, every component, all the event streams, they are all recorded there. Right, and over here we can see updates is available. We are on current version 4.1.11. Right, so kind of like upgrading your iPhone, I click on it, right, I see there's the latest version, let's see what's the latest for 1.13, right, select it, click update, and we are on the way. The upgrading is in progress, right. Over here, you can see in a while, upgrade will start, and there you go, update is in progress, right, and we are on the way to do an upgrade. And in a while, let's switch over into cluster settings, cluster operators. And in cluster operators, you can see every component down here is taken care of. Right? You may ask, what is cluster operator? Right? Cluster operator, think of it as humans operator in a factory managing machines. Right? It has deep knowledge and understanding how the machine works, looks after it, And if there's a problem, it can respond to it very fast. It takes care of your cluster, the life cycle of each component there is. Right? Everything all available down here. And if I want to configure any component operator of it, right, all I need to do is to click on Edit YAML, and the configuration is available for me to do an edit and modification. Right? I'm not going to do anything now. Right? I'm going to cancel, and we'll go to Overview. Update is on the way. Let's take a look at cluster settings. From cluster settings into cluster status. Over here, updating is in progress. Currently, you see 100%. In a while, it will go to 67%. All right, what happens is that this is a HA setup. Right? And what we are going to do, there's 3 nodes down here. We are going to bring them down one by one and get them upgraded. Right? But we are still serving user requests. That's important. This production environment is still going on. I'm still serving user requests and fulfilling my business. During the upgrade, we will perform the upgrade one by one, and after a while, it will go back to 100%, right, once it's done. And we are all back for business. But currently, we are still in business. It's just one of the nodes is now. Right, the upgrade process will take care of upgrading the operating system and the platform altogether. Right? No need to have 2 maintenance windows. Infrastructure admins are so familiar with that, right? 2 different kinds of maintenance windows. We do it all in one. OpenShift 4 introduced another additional component called telemetry. Right? When enabled, we can have immediate awareness and feedback on a piece of OpenShift if it isn't functioning properly. Right? So we can create a fix as soon as we know it, right, and respond to it very, very fast. It's back 100%. Minutes of me talking about it. Let's go into cluster settings and check what we have done. Right, it's back 100%. The status will show the upgrade logs. Everything is captured down here. The update history up to date. We were using a 4.1 channel. Cluster operators. Remember, it's 4.1.11. Now it's 4.1.13. Right, and let's check. Every component has been upgraded successfully. All is done in a matter of minutes, and all done from the dashboard. We never went to command line. We never do anything separately. Each and individual components, everything taken care of just with a click of a button. That's easy, right? And that's the whole process. Let's show a summary of what I just spoke about. Right? Over here, I just showed everyone the ability to update production clusters consistently without complexity or risk. That's very important. Our jobs are at stake. Right? And we have just increased the complexity. We have just reduced the complexity. Not only that, we increased the speed we can roll out critical security fixes and reduce risk across our entire OpenShift environment. Right? This works anywhere. As long you have Red Hat OpenShift running, it works at a click of a button. What do you think of that?
I'm pretty impressed with that. It's great technology. It's more than just over-the-air updates. But this new telemetry, if we decide to turn it on, we can see the information about the underlying cluster metadata. And in fact, Red Hat can come and tell us if we've got a problem even before we knew we had a problem. So, I mean, if that's not IT optimization, I don't know what is. So making this predictive capability available for everybody is really kind of cool. So Nick, this is going to lower the operational expense for everyone, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to fix it there. And of course, we didn't stop there, or else the show would have ended. Right? Our developer base, our kingmakers, which we are focusing on today, is very diverse. Right? They are very skillful and knowledgeable, and they go all out. Right? And many of them don't only use local environments on their laptop. Right? They get connected online environments. They use all the cloud tools. And for us, we want to give them that freedom of choice. Right? We want to make sure that the bits they use and the bits they create are going to be safe. Right? So I'm going to show everyone cloud management services for RHEL. Hwee Ming, could you help me switch to my demo? Over here, in my screen here, we see the dashboard for cloud management services for RHEL. Right, let me show you what we did for local development environments. Right, many developers aren't concerned about vulnerability and compliance. Right, that's their last thought usually before going to production. And they want to just create the greatest app in the world, just like me. I want to change the world as well. Right, but that's not with my changing my pay. Right, we continue to keep them productive and take care of managing infrastructure. Right? We want to take over managing infrastructure from them, make it transparent, make it frictionless as possible. So let me show you what we can do with cloud management services for RHEL. Right? It's a SaaS service, software as a service, cloud-based, and it's used for managing Red Hat Enterprise Linux hosts. Right? And it manages hosts on premises or in multi-cloud environments. So you can use it everywhere, right? As long as you have Red Hat Enterprise Linux hosts. Right? Some of the benefits of SaaS, I'm repeating down here, right? Many of you would know, is there's no infrastructure to maintain. Right? Totally no infrastructure. You don't need to set up a server in your environment. It's easy to set up as long as you have RHEL hosts. Very important. Right? We can get them up. We can get the most updated content, right down to the minute. And all these content are for vulnerability and for compliance. And lastly, no worries about scaling. We take care of scaling our infrastructure to meet your needs. Right? So it's available 24/7 for you, which means, pills, you get all your beauty sleep. Right? I know you love that. And let's take a look. First feature, vulnerability management. In vulnerability management, right, we will manage vulnerability, of course. It allows us to enables us to access, monitor, report, and remediate CVEs, right, in our Red Hat environment easily. Right? So the important thing here, we secure our business and we secure our data from malicious actors and threats. Right? What's CVE? It's another acronym. Right? It stands for Common Vulnerability and Exposures. Right? The security folks in the crowd will probably know what I'm talking about. It's a publicly known list of information security vulnerabilities and exposures that already has a fix. Right? If it already has a fix, you want to fix it, right? You want to patch the hole. So you can see down here, we have an entire list of CVEs and all the detailed information about it. There's a score there. There's an understanding of the impact. Thereby, you can understand how the risk and how it affects your environment. And to fix this, it's really simple. Again, single click, right? We are all about single click today. Let's take a look at, in detail, what's this about. Right, clicking into it, you will find out what's this problem about. Right, it is related to Spectre. And there's a whole list of hosts down there for you to select. Right, and you can see what are the risks there, the score again. And to fix it is really simple. So, for example, I'm interested to fix it for this host. Clicking on the tick, selecting the host, the button for remediation lights up blue. Right? That means that I can generate an Ansible playbook automatically for this vulnerability to be fixed. An Ansible playbook for remediation. Running the remediation playbook would fix this vulnerability. On top of that, we have Ansible Tower, remember? So this gets sent automatically to our Ansible Tower, and all we need to do is to schedule a time, single click again, to get it fixed automatically. That's how easy it is with cloud management services for RHEL. Right? But I know it's not enough. I'm going to make it even sweeter and better. I'm going to show you compliance. Right? The auditors are always on our backs about compliance. Right? And in the same solution, we make use of compliance management. So it's over here. Clicking on compliance, it brings us into compliance management screen, the dashboard. It's 100%, which means we are passing with flying colors. Right? These tools enable us to access, monitor, report and remediate internal and external regulatory requirements like ISO, PCI DSS, HIPAA. We are a pharmaceutical company. We can have the ability to view and access all these compliance requirements in our Red Hat environment. Right? So as long as it's running Red Hat solution software, we can monitor it. Right? We can do it with ease and be compliant with regulatory and audit requirements. This means that you can get the auditors in anytime to perform an audit and will pass with flying colors. That's how easy it is. And we are using a compliance policy with OpenSCAP auditing tool. Right? OpenSCAP, with that, we can actually see we have 100% compliance status, and we are interested to see what's within the policy. Right? Clicking into the policy, we can see that all the hosts are audited. I have 16 hosts currently. They are all 100% compliant. And what I've done is I've set up 95% passing rate, which means that if I run the rules, if they pass 95%, I will get 100% compliant. Right? But of course, I always aim higher, and I have 97% rules passed, right? Which means that my entire environment is compliant anytime. Right? As long as I run the audit, I run the scan. Right? Same thing, just like vulnerability management. If anything goes down below my passing grade, all I need to do is to fix it automatically, click on it. Again, the button turns blue, and I will have an Ansible playbook automatically generated by Cloud Management Services. And of course, I already have Ansible Tower. It gets sent there, and all I need to do is to schedule an update to fix the problem with compliance, and I'm back into compliance state again. That's how easy it is. But that is not enough, right? Of course, I'm going to show everyone one last nice feature. Right? Over here, you can see remediations. Right? So what's remediations? So far, I've generated Ansible playbooks. Right? They are considered remediations playbooks. And what I've done is that because I'm doing two functions, compliance and vulnerability, lazy people are always smart people, right? I've cut down my work in half, and I can actually combine vulnerability management and compliance, Ansible automation all together into one remediation playbook, right? And of course, send it to Ansible Tower, which means that I can generate remediation playbooks just like killing two birds with one stone. So I'm doing two pieces of work, right, with one job, automation job. That's how I optimize myself and find more time, right? So let me show everyone what I've just spoke about, round out as a summary. Ming, can you switch to my summary slides? All right, so far, we have seen proactive remediation, right, for vulnerability and compliance management. Right? This can be done across hybrid environments, multi-cloud environments. Right? The important thing here that it increases developer productivity. Right? We've helped them to do it. We've taken that job and do it for them easily. They don't have worries about dealing with it anytime, anymore. Right? And that's how we get operational efficiency, ability to manage at scale. That's about saving time. What do you think about Pils?
I love the fact that we can see all of the problems. And interestingly, think about all those CVEs. Any one of those CVEs could have you in the newspaper as the company that leaked customer information. And you only ever do that once. That's the career is over kind of thing, right? So we can see all of the CVEs, and we can remediate all of them using Tower at once. One person could do one machine or 1,000 machines, right? This is absolute productivity here. And it's really important in a multi-cloud environment where we need to be able to manage all our systems in the cloud. And the nice thing is we don't want to get in the way of developers, but as Nick said, some of our developers, they're more interested in cutting code than worrying about vulnerabilities, or even worse, the code they cut 6 months ago, they don't want to go back and revisit that for vulnerabilities. We're going to see how we fix that in a minute as well. So we're all going to sleep better. That's good for everybody. Less fire drills. We don't want more fire drills. This gives our developers more time to write code. Right, Nick?
That's right. They will have more time, and we all get our beauty sleep, right? And we know how much you like your beauty sleep. So I've gone one step further, right, to take care of our developers and make them more efficient, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show everyone how I make it even easier for them. Ming, help me switch to my demo screen now. You will see here OpenShift Operator Hub, right? I'm going to tell you a bit more about Operator Hub and operators in a while. Right, until this point, we have always been talking about providing a secure, reliable infrastructure for our developers. But our developers aren't resting on their laurels, of course. Right? They have been always exploring new technologies, and they have been always requesting for new toys and tech to play. And one of those things is third-party applications. They want us to onboard them very, very fast. Right? As fast as it's released, right, to make them even more efficient and more productive, right, or to be very innovative. Now, we are not going to restrict them. However, this has created two new challenges to us, right? Firstly, third-party applications. How do we know whether they are safe and secure for our environment? We are running a production environment, right? Secondly, these third-party applications, right, I don't have the expertise, or we haven't hired people to be trained to be able to architect them, to design them, and to configure them. Right? We don't even have this knowledge yet. So what will happen? How do we move on? Right? So let me show you how we made things simple for developers and how to make them fast and efficient. Right? Let me show you Operator Hub. It's integrated into OpenShift GUI. It is a catalog of operators. Think of it as an app store for your iPhone. Right? You just look at it, the app is there, click on it, you install. Right? Over here, you can find all the operators or apps that are validated and certified. Right? And so it's important. You want them to be safe, secure, so it has to be certified. And who better than Red Hat certifying it? Right? So clicking on this, I will be able to show all the operators that are certified. Right? They are safe to run in my environment. Right? Of course, if they want to muck around my developers, I click on Community, and they have all the new tech they can play with easily. So last week, our developers asked me to deploy a Couchbase database cluster, 3-node HA, and usually setting up a database would take hours, and should it go through approval, it might even take even longer. Right? So I'm going to install a Couchbase database HA setup 3-node. Right? I'm going to show everyone how I use operators to install it. Right? And all I need to do is to click on Install Operators, and I have the operator ready for me to run. So this is not installed yet. The operator is just there for me to use it. Right? And I want to install. So all I need to do is click on the operator, and over here, in plain English, create new. Right? So I'm interested to do that. And clicking on it, I will be given a YAML file for me to edit, to customize and modify some parameters. So I'm not going to have the same secret and the password and the same keys in every single cluster. So I'm going to customize this and make sure I have something unique and confidential for this one.
It's not a secret anymore, Nick.
Yeah, it's not secret anymore. Right? But don't worry, because it's customizable every deployment, like I show you, right? It's a YAML file. I can configure it and be unique in every single deployment. But let's show everyone for the sake of simplicity. Right? Let's show it everyone. I'm going to delete it later. You guys aren't going to get access. right? And I'm on the way to creating my 3-node HA Couchbase DB cluster, right? It's on the way, right? Traditionally, this takes months to learn, and on top of that, it takes a long while. But what happens is that when using operators, OpenShift Operators offers consistent packaging of application, management of the lifecycle, and takes care of deployment for me, right? These operators are constantly updated and monitored by Red Hat, and this allows us to keep up with security risks and concerns, and most important thing, interoperability on OpenShift. All these are checked and monitored and fixed as well. And overall, what this has done is it saves time for us because they are just pre-tested and validated on OpenShift. That's very important for me in a production environment. And if I have a storage guy, and traditionally it'll probably take months for him to stand up a storage solution. But with operators with JSON, right, the developer himself can perform self-service and install a storage cluster if he wants to suit his needs, as soon as he can, using operators. That's how simple. Okay, I think the DB is installed. Let's see how I can get access to it. Let's take a look at the Couchbase cluster, right? And it's showing expose interface ready, and the resources. Oh, yep, the DB is up. And what I've done is, to access the Couchbase database, of course, we gotta access it using a web UI, right? Some of you may prefer a command line, right? But a web UI allows authenticated access, right? And what I want is I need to install a web client. Lifesaver down here, the operator has installed the web client as a container pod for me as well. So I've saved time setting up a web client to get access and a web server to host the web client, right? All is done automatically together with the operator to allow ease of use. And normally such things will probably take another half a day to get it up and running, to get the GUI up and running. And to add approvals to it, you'll probably take even longer, right? Depending how clear your desk is and how fast you get on your email, right? And let's try to log on into the GUI now, right? Our HA 3-node DB. By clicking on networking and routes, I can see that the web client UI is available for me to access. Clicking on that, let's see what the DB looks like. Right, it's on the way, the UI is up. Let me log in. Oops. I'm not going to show you the password, of course. There you go. 3 active nodes all set up live in a matter of minutes, and in HA node as well. Right? So that's the power of operators. And in the last 10 minutes of me speaking, we have set up a validated 3-node HA cluster in an environment, in an OpenShift environment. Right. Let's round up what I've just shown you guys through the entire installation process. Okay. Right. Couchbase DB all up in a matter of minutes. With operators, what I've done is that we can now manage third-party software without having to know operational details. Right. Operators allow us to add certified third-party software. It's just like an app store for Kubernetes. It's so easy. There you go, Pils.
So let me make sure I got this right. Traditionally, the developer would submit a ticket. We'd go and find someone who could set up a database, and we'd do that. It'd take 2 days, 3 days with approvals. All that you've just shown, a developer can get that done in literally 3 to 4 minutes. From 3 days to 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's a live demo, and I actually showed you a live demo of it. Oh. Right? It's an app store for Kubernetes, right? Something Red Hat has spearheaded in the open source community.
This is really interesting stuff for our organization. Now, these operators, they let us use third-party applications in a safe, secure, and monitored way. And I think, Nick, the updates are all taken care of as part of the operator as well, right?
Exactly. They are all taken care of, all validated by Red Hat.
That's pretty cool stuff. So look, I appreciate the team looking out for me. Gives me more time to work on our strategic directions for the future and not worrying about all those fire alerts, which we really don't want. So here's the interesting thing is, while we've got the best tools and the best frameworks and the best infrastructure, that's there just to support the development team, to support that operation. The key thing here is now, how do we give our developers the freedom to code anything, anywhere, at any time? How do we give them that freedom and also have it in a controlled manner, thinking about security, vulnerability scanning, which is really important, which some developers don't see as maybe one of the top things they should be worrying about, and we do. So, Hwee Ming, how do we allow our developers to create anything, anywhere, at any time, and to keep ourselves out of trouble with vulnerabilities and maybe even legal things?
So, Pils, remember when we started the journey last year, we were on OpenShift version 3. Since then, we have upgraded to version 4. And with version 4, it comes with a lot of great functionality for a developer. So let me show you what this is all about.
Cool.
Are you ready to get nerdy?
Yeah, I was nerdy while you were still in school, Hwee Ming, all right?
Let's get started then. So what you're seeing right here on the screen is a code-ready Workspaces by Red Hat. And all these are run on a web browser without any plugin. That means that our developer can develop their code from anywhere on any device as long as they have a web browser. And best of all, none of this source code is stored locally on my laptop. So if I were to lose my laptop, you do not have to worry about hacker gaining access to our code base. So it's safe and secure, hosted on the OpenShift platform, running anywhere the OpenShift platform can run. Another great concern we have is, as our company is expanding so fast, we are actually attracting a lot of great developers, and we need to onboard them very quickly. Typically, it takes us about 2 to 3 days to onboard a new developer, and this is really hurting our productivity. So with Red Hat code-ready Workspaces, that helps us to get around the onboarding issue as well. So Nick, I know that you have been really eager to get onto this new app that I'm working on. So why don't I show everyone how I can easily share my workspace with you and allow you to contribute to the code. So in order to do that, all I need to do is to go into the Workspaces and select the one that I want to share with Nick. Click on the Configure Workspace button. Go into the Share screen. And the nice thing about Red Hat code-ready Workspaces is it's pre-integrated with the Red Hat single sign-on. So I do not need to recreate Nick's credential. All I need to do to add Nick to this workspace is simply to key in his email address. And then I click on the Share button. As easy as that. And I have just shared my workspace with Nick, and he can start collaborating with me on this particular workspace. Think of it like a Google Doc for developer. So Nick, would you want to give it a try?
Yeah, let's show everyone how I can quickly start contributing code. All right. So.
And of course, as we onboard great developers like Nick who want to leverage third-party library to get started, I mean, who wants to reinvent the wheel, right? You want to be able to leverage what is already out there. So one of the things that you might introduce with fast onboarding is the developer might be using a lot of third-party libraries, and those libraries might not be secure. Code-ready Workspaces also get around this particular issue by ensuring all the third-party library is safe and secure and does not introduce any vulnerability into the environment.
Yeah, I'm in.
So as simple as that, I've just onboarded Nick Aren't you eager to get started right now?
Get ready for a flood of pull requests are going to go your way, right?
Amazing, right? So I'm going to show you another IDE that is very popular within Big Farm, the VS Code. So Red Hat Dependency Analytics can scan for vulnerability within the Red Hat code-ready workspaces. But the same functionality is also available if the developer so choose to use another IDE, in this case, the VS Code. So how is this possible? So the analytic tool for a Red Hat is available as an extension to VS Code. So if I were to go through the third-party vulnerability on the third-party library for this particular app that I'm developing, which is a relatively simple app, it's using a lot of third-party library like the Quarkus REST Easy, the Apache, Log4j, and so on and so forth. So it's a pretty extensive list of library that developer typically will be using. And how do we ensure that none of this has any issue or any security vulnerability? If any of them introduce vulnerability, it could compromise the security of our whole system, and that's not really what we want. So with the dependency analytic, all I need to do is to right-click on the dependency file, and I can run the report to generate an analysis result. I've already run the report, so let me show you how we are looking. A 7.5 CVSS score issue has been flagged out by the toolset, and 7.5 is a very high score. So let's look at what this is about. And this has been flagged out on a Apache Log4j library, and the corresponding CVE is also tagged to it. So if you read out on the CVE for this particular issue that is being introduced by Log4j, it means that a particular hacker can inject malicious code into the code base, and this will allow them to gain access to our data and sometimes even compromising the whole system. That's not really what we want, right, Pils?
That's not what we want.
So the toolset not only tells you what the problem is, it gives you recommendation on how to get around or resolve the issue. So if you look at the recommendation, it's relatively simple. It's simply to upgrade from the current version, which is 2.3, to the recommended version, which is 2.12.1. As simple as that, and that will keep your system safe and secure. Pretty cool, right? So let me summarize what I have just shown you. With the Red Hat code-ready workspaces, it allows our developer to develop anywhere, anytime, on any devices, as long as they have a web browser. And I've just shown how we can very quickly onboard new developer, cutting down the onboarding time and increasing the productivity of new developer. And with the Red Hat Dependency Analytic toolset, we are able to keep the source code and the third-party library safe and secure. Isn't that impressive, Pils?
That's impressive, but let's make sure we understand this. To bring a developer on board and to set them up and to get an IDE and all the infrastructure, literally could take 2 days or 3 days. You've just basically set up Nick, exactly the same kind of thing, but you did it in like a minute, maybe 2 minutes max, right?
That's right, Pils.
Unbelievable how fast we can get that done. And with the analytics, so Nick showed us in the company all of the CVEs that we could fix with Ansible. Those were the ones that were there. This is how we fix the code so we don't get the CVEs into the code in the first place, which is even more brilliant. And I don't know if you noticed, but my legal team loved the other one in there because it also looks at the licensing for the modules we're using to make sure we're not using any modules in a license that we shouldn't be using, which keeps us out of legal trouble as well. So this is really, really good. I'm impressed with how fast our developers can get to speed, can get into the business of developing applications, and we can do it in a controlled environment from a security and a vulnerability point of view. This is how we stay ahead of the competition in Big Farm. This is all about developer joy, right, Hwee Ming?
Yes, exactly, Pils. And it's not just about the toolset is also about the languages and the framework. And Red Hat is a first-class supporter of popular languages like Go, Python, Node.js, Ruby, and of course, our good and reliable Java. Best of all these languages are certified to work on the Red Hat OpenShift platform. Impressive, right, Pils?
It's impressive. It gives us great freedom to give the developers the tools and the frameworks they need to do their job. It really is the best tool for the problem that the developer is trying to solve. Now, speaking of applications, I remember when we were here last year, we showed our drug application where we can extract information about the drugs and all that, and it was a big monolithic application. And then we went to Red Hat, and they said you should really containerize this thing. So I understand we went from a monolithic app to a containerized app, even with microservices. So, Hwee Ming, can you show us what the drug application looks like today, and how do we do things like canary testing and A/B testing to get new versions out there for our customers to test?
Sure, Pils. So we're using a technology from Red Hat called the Service Mesh. What Service Mesh does is it takes care of the network complexity, like traffic management, policy enforcement, service discovery, so that our developer can focus on what really matters, which is coding our business logic. So let me show you how this is done. So what you are seeing on screen is our drug info page. This page is where our customer go into to get more details on our drugs. It's made up of 3 microservices. The one that put together all the information and present to the customer, microservices that take care of fetching details on the drug details, and one more to look at the review that customer has submitted and present to them. And this is a relatively simple app with just 3 microservices, but sometimes it can get a bit more complex than that. And it's sometimes difficult to visualize how these microservices are interacting with one another, and if there's any issue within one of the microservices that's causing a bottleneck, it's hard to visualize or to troubleshoot the issue or to pinpoint which one is exactly causing the issue. This is where another great toolset from Red Hat helps. So what you're seeing right now is the Canary Console. It presents to you a visual map of how the different microservices is interacting with one another. So the traffic is coming in, it's hitting our product page, and then it's calling our product details and product review page. And the response time for each of these components is also shown, so you can have a high-level view and identify any bottleneck. On the right-hand side is where we are monitoring all the HTTP traffic that is going through all our microservices, and it also shows you whether you are having any failure on your HTTP call. So we are all green and good. And with Kali and with Service Mesh taking care of a lot of this network complexity, our developer productivity really has gone up because they are able to focus now on just coding the business logic. But with increased productivity and having more releases, we need to make sure that all these releases are not risking our production environment. So we need to have some strategy whereby the code are released into the production environment. And one of the deployment strategy that we have been using is what we call canary testing.
Canary testing.
Yep,
Love
that's
it.
right. And what that means is that we are rolling out the code to just a small fraction of the user, like 20% of the user. And then once that code is proven and stable, we can then expand our user base to 100% of the user. So let me show you how I can switch the traffic of this particular app into the review microservices to just 20% of the user. So to do that, let me switch to my favorite UI, the command line. And all I need to do is to do a OC apply -f, the new YAML file with the traffic configuration, as easy as that, and the change is being done. So let me show you how our version 2 looks like. And notice that the review microservices will be updated with the change. And because only 20% of the new traffic is going to the new version, sometimes I might hit the new version, and sometimes it still go back to the old one. And this is our new version with the star rating. So if I were to refresh it a few more times, I can see that the traffic is really randomized, and sometimes it will show us the older version of this particular application. So as simple as that, and I can switch between the two. So we are also having feedback from our user interface team that the user interface might not be as friendly as it is. There's a lot of scrolling, and if we can make this particular section a lot more prominent, we can actually attract more customers to help us provide review on the drug information, and they will read the drug information a lot more. So I'm going to use another deployment technique called A/B testing to target just the Chrome browser user and deploy a new change, which is our version 3, to just the Chrome browser. So let me just go back to my command line. And this time around, I'm going to apply a YAML file that switch all the traffic for Chrome browser user to our v3 of the review microservices. As simple as that, and the traffic has now been switched over to our Chrome user. And Pills, since we have such a lively audience with us today, why not we get them to help us test out our version 3 of the new app?
Wait a minute, you're brave enough to sit up there and do 4 or 5 live demos, and now you want the studio audience here to participate in that? That's real brave. What do they need to do? What do they need to do?
So you have on screen the URL for our app, and you can go ahead and try it out on your mobile phone. For all the Chrome browser user on Android phone, you will see our new version 3 of the new app. Unfortunately, for iPhone user, even if you are using Chrome browser, you will not be able to see our new app, simply because at the back end, iPhone is still running Safari as the engine.
It works.
Pretty cool, right? So for the benefit of all the iPhone user and user who might have left your phone in the hotel room or at home, I'm going to show you how our version 3 app look like. Ta-da! This is how it looks like, with a very prominent review section whereby you can click through and see more information on the review that is being provided. Pretty cool, right? So as simple as that, I have switched over all the traffic for Chrome browser user to our version 3. And Pills, you are worried that our application might not hold up with all the testing and all the traffic generated by our live audience. So Canary Console also allows us to get a real-time view of the traffic coming in. So as you can see, the topology has been automatically updated to show version 1, version 2, version 3, and the traffic split between them, the response time that each of them is having, and the HTTP traffic monitoring show us the rate of the HTTP requests coming in, if we have any error. So we are still all green, which is all good. So let me just summarize what I have just shown you. So with the Red Hat Service Mesh technology, we have simplified the inter-service communication for microservices and taken care of all the network complexity, allowing developers to focus on what matters, which is to code the business logic. And with adaptive traffic management, we can explore new deployment strategy, such as canary testing, A/B testing, and that's not just restricted to the front-end app, but also within the microservices, giving us fine-grained control on how we deploy our code. And Canary Console, it brings amazing visibility, allowing us to troubleshoot any bottleneck or any issue in the communication between microservices, and increasing our productivity and our ability to keep our system up and running. Pretty cool, right, Pils?
It is. I mean, so much to show and so little time to be able to do it. This is great, great technology. Now, I don't remember all of this in our OpenShift 3 from last year. Is all this new stuff going to cost us more money?
No, Pils, you don't have to worry about that. That's the nice thing about the Red Hat subscription. You're always able to access the greatest and the latest functionality in the latest version of the Red Hat product without paying anything more.
I like that. I'm more than happy now to give all of our money to the Red Hat company. They're obviously great people giving us great service and stuff like that. Now, I was talking to the team at Walreds. Walreds is one of our customers, and Phytos, the CITO there, they use our API technology to extract the drug information that they put into their web page. And Phytos was saying, look, I'd really like to lower the cost of those API calls. We charge per call, which is an industry standard practice. And as I was talking to Phytos, I was thinking, yeah, we could look at doing that, but would there be a way to make his developers even more productive? Less than just taking a little bit of a cost out of the technology, how could we make his developers much more productive? So Nick, what can we do with Phytos and his development team at Walreds, our customer, to make his developers more productive and more security and compliant?
Pils, I think we can help them. We can help Walreds. Right? How to do that? I've been working on something together with Ming, right, on API portal. Let's switch to the API portal. Right. Over here, you can see Big Farm API portal, right, our developer portal. This is where we publish all our Big Farm APIs. Right. The portal is a great way to market our APIs to our partners like Walreds, pharmacies, clinics, hospitals. Right. And all our registered partners will have access to our published API. All right. Let me show you what we have enhanced down here. To do that, I'm going to sign in using our partner, Walreds account. Right. So I'm going to log in with Walreds account. And as you can see, we have access to the Big Farm APIs using a unique confidential API
Very
key.
secure.
Okay. Right, very unique and complex. In the past, our partners, like Walreds, would rely on API documentation to develop integration with their front-end application that will invoke our APIs. Right, let's take a look at documentation as I click on it. Previously, such documentation will only show you or provide information around the parameter types and the data types required by the API. Right. Based on that, our developers can easily they can figure out how to integrate with their front-end applications with API. Right. Figuring out that's a time-consuming activity. Right. It will take time for them to learn. And for those who have played with RESTful APIs, right, the amount of time they need to configure the payload, the headers, and figure it out, right, it'll take a while. And to help our partner developers, we create a development environment on Red Hat Code Ready Workspaces, which we showed just now. And what it does is that it can help us create the sample front-end code. We create it for them to help them invoke our APIs, our Big Farm APIs, right? So it automatically create that, and it create it based on 3 popular programming languages shown here: Node.js, Python, and Java. And just because Node.js comes first and is easily also my favorite, let's click on Node.js. What it does is that the link will bring me automatically to my Code Ready workspace. I will log in using the Walreds account. And once we sign in, what it does, it will bring me to my dedicated workspace with actual code to call the API. Right, from here, if I want to, I can tweak the code as much as I want to, right, to my liking. And once I'm satisfied, I can export this code out from Code Ready Workspaces and integrate it with the rest of my application. As simple as that. Right? And all the libraries, all the dependencies and all the security is all taken care of. All I need to do is to click run, right, which this will do the run, and immediately the front-end code is running with the ability to query the API. So what I've done is, let's do a preview. So this is the web app, right, which you just saw, the sample front-end code automatically generated. And this allows us to key in details, parameters, to help us query the API. And this, for example, is to allow us to query a certain drug part number. And I'm interested in a certain drug, right? And all I need to do, click on get, and it will query the API, and it will pull out all the information related to the drug I'm interested, right? And all the information. That's done by all the front-end code generated by Treescale. And my app is now getting the information from the API. Life is that simple, Phils, and that good. What do you think? Great, right?
Great stuff.
And to sum up everything, right? This is a short demo. Let me sum up in my summary slide. Right? So far, Code-Ready Workspaces has helped us in 3 ways. Right? First way is it has allowed us to have a developer portal easily accessed and allow us to market our APIs to pharmaceutical partners like our friends and our company. And 2, they have also made it very easy on our developers, partner developers, to quickly build front-end code using different languages. So we have 3 down there. And lastly, all these has tremendously improved our partner satisfaction. And we are all about partner satisfaction, right, Phils?
We are indeed, and I know. I can't wait to go and talk to Fitos and his developers. I mean, if this isn't an easy, frictionless way to get into our API technology with a managed and secure environment, I don't know. I know we're going to see great orders from Fitos and the team coming through. So thanks, team. Great demonstrations. Really appreciate everything you've shown us today. Thank you. But just a little bit more there, a little bit more. We hope you've enjoyed catching up with the team, and I know we're out of time. There's one other thing that we wanted to really, really quickly show you. While we've made tremendous progress and we've got our IT investments really investing in our future, there's one area that we still need to address because we still haven't fixed the problem, and that is there's not enough developers and there's not enough kingmakers. So how do we address this thing? The problem is actually a talent pool problem. So what's the problem with this? The problem is actually the programming languages. Containers and microservices need a few things. It's got to be simple, it's got to be fast, it's really got to be small and optimized for speed. And herein is the biggest problem we've got, because Java has the largest developers install base today. There's more Java developers out there than anybody. And even if you go and have a look like at GitHub, there's more Java repos out there than anything else. Many of the monolithic applications today are written in Java. The problem is Java does not meet the requirements for enterprise containers and microservices. So that's a real problem. However, Java is suitable for microservices and container development. The problem is the slow compiler and the VM, they get in the way of making this thing work. So the Java team has been pretty much excluded from the party until now. So Red Hat started to address this with a project called Quarkus. And Quarkus is all about making Java great again and getting those developers out there and really getting them into this new environment. Some people call Java legacy. We call it leverage, leveraging all those Java developers out there. So very quickly, Hwee Ming, can you show us some Quarkus in action?
Definitely, Brandon. So Quarkus is designed with a container-first philosophy, which means very small memory footprint and very fast startup time. So on the OpenShift platform, I have deployed 2 applications that does exactly the same thing, do some computation and return a result. Big Fat Java is using a regular Java framework, whereas the supersonic subatomic Java is using Quarkus. So let me go to the command line and pull out some stats on how they are doing. So you can...
It's live demo, right?
Been logged in too long, yeah.
Yeah. So just give me a minute to log into the system. And let me pull up the stats. So you can see on the screen that Big Fat Java is taking 107 meg, whereas the supersonic subatomic Java based on Quarkus is only taking 18 meg, which is only 1/5 the footprint of the Big Fat Java. So you may ask, so it's consuming a lot less memory, but how about the startup time? So, Brandon, why not we do a scale test and scale both of these applications up to 20 pods, and let's see who start out.
Last demo of the day, 20 pods, not good enough. Make it 40. Make it 40.
Really?
But make it quick. Make it quick.
Okay, then let's do it. We will scale it up to 40.
Wouldn't be a Red Hat demo without a command line somewhere, right?
I'm going to use the script to help me scale both of them up. And because I'm quite confident that the supersonic subatomic Java based on Quarkus will outperform the Big Fat Java, I'm going to give Big Fat Java a head start by starting it first. And pay attention to the ready state, because what happened is both of them will allocate the pods, and then the content, which is the Java code, will start booting out. So there you go. Supersonic subatomic Java has scaled to 40, whereas our regular Java is still at 10. Pretty impressive, right, Brandon?
Very impressive.
Okay, let me just sum up what I have just shown you. So I've just shown you that with Quarkus, our Java app is consuming a lot less memory, making it suitable for container. And with a very fast startup time, it makes it ready for next generation of technology like serverless. And with less memory, fast startup, Quarkus has really brought Java back into the game.
Thank you. Look, thank you, Hwee, Ming, and a great story, great demos. Well done for doing all of that live on stage. It takes a lot of courage to be able to do that, so thank you. So we've laid the foundation for our open hybrid cloud platform. Last year we showed you how the kingmakers can take advantage of this platform, and really what we want to be able to do is show you how we were moving this ahead and some of the new developments in containers and microservices, how to get applications into the hands of the customers faster, which is what IT is really all about. And finally, how do we get more developers? How do we bring all those Java developers on board and get them coding in these new worlds of containerless microservices kind of areas, really net new cloud native development. So thank you for your time, and remember that the Red Hat OpenShift platform really is the platform where big ideas become reality. Thank you very much. All right.